Born among the stars in Hollywood, California, Pablo was told by his mother that he was destined to shine. At an early age, he knew that art was going to be his calling. It was the world of art that kept him away from the world of gangs and violence that surrounded him. As he worked to develop his craft, he carved out a space for himself in the art world. As he learned, mastered, and adapted to change along the way.
Create to stimulate. This is a statement that you've shared about your work. Pablo, what is it that you hope to stimulate in people who see your art?
Well, I mean, it could be pretty much anything, whether it's something positive or whether it's even something negative, whether it's to question things or whether it's just to make you, smile and walk away. Pretty much stimulate any type of anything coming out of your senses. You know what I mean? I don't think, and I mean, that's just most of the time, sometimes you just like to draw something cool, but hopefully it still makes the audience, feel, or like I said, smile or be like, oh, that's crap. You know what I mean? Whatever it is, as long as it stimulates some kind of emotion out of you, some type of opinion out of you, or if it's something that I really work on and I think is important, then hopefully strikes up a conversation that we might need to have, as uncomfortable as it might be.
Yeah, no, I love that. And I think so much art, your art specifically, truly is a catalyst for conversation in that way. And just like I said, on your beautiful business card here, the conversation I had with my son,
Right.
and the conversation we would not have had he not seen your painting. So,
That's nice. That's cool.
yeah.
See, that's
Yeah.
perfect. And it's conversations that a lot of mothers and sons might never have, like, especially nowadays, everybody's stuck into their faces in their phone and you don't even talk to each other much anymore. So that's perfect. That's cool. I like that.
Yeah. Well, I do too. Really enjoyed that conversation and your painting, of course. So with your artwork that is featured, it's been featured at the Museum of Latin American Art, California State University, Plaza de la Raza, and countless galleries. You do more than exhibit your work. You use it to teach and to inspire youth. So when you go in and you're speaking to children about your art, what lesson is it that you hope that these young minds, these young people take away?
I think kind of with the very beginning, a lot of kids, even adults, we'll get into that a little bit later maybe, but we're doing an event that we call Sip Blessing, where it's almost like one of those sip and paint, sip wine and paint type of events. But whether it's kids or adults, a lot of people, their canvas might be, or their sheet of paper might be, 11 by 14, but they want to draw or paint this tiny little image right in the middle of the paper, and the rest of it is just blank. So the initial thing that I teach them is use the whole canvas, go big. And that goes back to just having self-confidence and courage to do that. Don't try to hide behind this tiny little, whatever you're drawing and leave everything blank around it. Just go bold. You know what I mean? Go big, use the entire canvas, and just have that self-confidence in yourself that no matter what you do, it's gonna be good. And at least if it's not good, quote unquote good, you're gonna learn from it and hopefully grow from there. So I think that's one of the biggest things. And then with the kids, kind of the cliche of if this is what you really like, you just got to go for it, follow it, continue, don't give up. Those type of things. As like I said, as cliche as they sound, it's true.
Yeah, for sure. You can't hear that kind of messaging enough. I mean, not even as adults, we still need to hear it. To keep the eyes on the prize, so to speak. So,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So one thing with you, more than seen, your art can be worn. So as an apparel designer and tattoo artist, you take your talent off of the canvas and into wardrobes and onto bodies. Of all the forms that your art takes, do you have a favorite? Hard question, I know.
Yeah, it's kind of tough. I think if I was going to say my favorite, it would still be, on the canvas or on the wall, because luckily I've been getting into muraling lately, with the whole pandemic. But I love each of them for different reasons. You know what I mean? Like I said, my favorite is just painting. The apparel, I really like it because it's super cool to see. Luckily, I've gotten into certain brands and stuff where I see it on TV. I'll see it on a movie. I'll see it, on like for example, I saw it on Method Man. So it's like, man, like it's a trip to see him, them, or whoever it is wearing my stuff, and it kind of makes me think like, man, I'm just a kid that used to draw, from La Puente, and like now, this is going on. Not that it puts me at any stature. It's just cool to see somebody at their stature, wearing my stuff. So, and then when it comes to tattooing, it's just, especially when you're doing like a tribute piece for a parent that passed away or something, it's just cool that somebody trusts me enough to mark them for the rest of their life, So all of them have their things, and I like all of them. But I guess if I had to pick a favorite, it would still be painting.
Silly painting. Yeah, that's beautiful though. The different ways you love them, of the different formats. So, so I want to switch gears for a moment and have a conversation about live art, live DJ set, always good vibes. So for those not familiar with Sick Blessing, please share, what is this?
So my longtime friend, my brother Dominic, and we have been, during when I would have art shows, he would do me the favor of going and DJing for a lot of them. So I would do a live painting, he would be DJing, and his, he goes by Be Blessed as his DJ name. I started using the moniker of Sick.1, so we put it together and made it a Sick Blessing. We've been actually, just today he sent me a picture, and it's from 2005. So that's 16 years ago that we've been doing it. So once we got shut down, everybody we all kind of went to a dark place for a little bit. So we decided to start doing it virtually, just to keep in contact with a lot of our friends, and just kind of have something to look forward to when we were all locked up and not doing too good. So we started doing it, called it Sick Blessing. And we've just been maintaining it every week since then, just try to do that, just try to spread the good vibes, and just something positive when we were all going through something pretty negative. So what we do is, so he DJs, I paint for about 4 hours, and then, every week we raffle off last week's painting. So it's cool,
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, and again, what a beautiful way to respond to, like you're saying, like that loneliness and that darkness, that all of us, like every single person on this planet, has dealt with this new sort of reality that we're trying to figure out. Right. And for you to use, music and art as a way to bring us back together, just so required. Yeah.
And that's what it was about, keeping all of us a little bit sane.
Yes, required. I'm curious to hear, in your opinion, so they say that change is the only constant. And when it comes to art, I'm curious to know, what change in the industry have you personally experienced? What is the most profound change as an artist that you've gone through with the art?
I don't know. I would love to be positive about it, but I think, unfortunately, the biggest change is that talent is not necessarily required anymore. You know what I mean? It's people, even galleries. I've gone to galleries and spoken to them, and their first question is, how many followers do you have? And it's like, well, I don't know, whatever it is, why does that matter if my artwork is this at this level, or not at this level, whatever it is. But it's more of a popularity contest instead of looking at the talent of the person. So I think, unfortunately, that's the biggest change I've seen in the past, 10 years or so. The only thing on the positive note, I think more people are into art and maybe realizing how important it is, how everyday it is. I do graphic design as is my day job, I guess you could say. So it's all art, and every single company on the universe needs graphic design, needs visuals in order to make their company profitable. So I think a lot more people are into it, more about it, and seeing the value of it. So I think that's definitely a positive. Yeah.
That's really interesting to me, though, for you to share that going into galleries, that what they're most interested in, or like one of the first things is how many followers you have. That seems like I would imagine that to be just the opposite. Like they'd want to find someone who's not been seen yet and who can I discover, as opposed to, wow, that's interesting. And that's sort of dangerous too, though. Yeah, that you let like the masses control what good art is or what wanted art is.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, not putting anybody down at all whatsoever, but you can have somebody that does really amazing artwork, and then again, I think he's a genius in his own right, but you have like a Banksy that does a stencil, spray paints, one color, two colors, and it's getting, I don't know if you saw that piece that shredded itself after it was sold on auction for like $1 million.
Oh,
so
no.
He sold last year or so he sold a piece, and it was $1 million. So once the guy bought it, it automatically started shredding itself, which is genius, because it goes to show how dumb we are that we're spending $1 million on a piece of paper. But at the same time, so now today or yesterday, it sold for over $20 million, So, but there's again, it's genius what he did, but he didn't render anything. There was no real artistic skill involved in it. So, but because he's followed by who knows how many millions of people, he's on the news, and selling it for $20 million. So it's crazy. But it's more of that, it's more of the popularity contest as opposed to looking at the skill, looking at the, the thought behind it and all that type of thing. I think it should be a balance, it should be a balance of both. And, because obviously as a gallery or as something like that, you want to bring in somebody that's going to bring you people. I get that.
Yeah.
1,000, for sure, 100%, but it shouldn't only be based on that, That's my opinion. So, yeah.
Well, I have to say, just based on this one image that I took with me and shared with my son, your artwork does a beautiful job at creating conversation, and those conversations are what cultivates relationships and connections. So thank you for rocking it like you do, and for sharing your art in the multiple mediums that you do. And if you are creating to stimulate, I will say that you are successful, my friend. Case in point, with the conversation, even if just from one mother and her son, I'm sure there are hundreds and thousands more who have enjoyed the same benefits from your work and the way you rock it like you do. So
thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Thank you for taking the time, Pablo, for making us all a little bit more aware now. Thank you.
For sure. Of course. Thank you.
Thank you.